Namo Namo Shri Soha, Namo Manju Shri, Namo So Shri, Namo Namo Shri Soha. Ye Junang Ge Junang Lo, Janju Wado Nani Gabsuji, Dagi Chunye Gibe Tsonangi, Rola Benje Sangi Druba Shu. Chedang Sugi Chunang Lo, Janju Wado Nani Gabsuji, Dagi Chunye Gibe Tsonangi, Rola Benje Sangi Druba Shu. Chedang Sugi Chunang Lo, Janju Wado Nani Gabsuji, Dagi Chunye Gibe Tsonangi, Rola Benje Sangi Druba Shu. Xi Begi Shu Xi Me Do Zhang, Ra Ling Xi Ni De Tian Ba De, Sang Ge Xun Du Mi Tian Ma Yu, Zhou Ge Nang Da Xin La Zhu Ba Shu, Gong Zhou Ren Na Men Da La Gang Ni Ya Da Ya Yin Bi.
Geshe-la is muted.
Yeah, it's somehow, it is muted automatically. I don't know why. Okay. Please adjust your sitting posture according to the 7 meditative postures of Vairocana. Think, all sentient beings have been my mothers. All sentient beings have been my mothers, not just once, but numberless times. All sentient beings are as kind as my mother in this life. Even though all kind mother sentient beings want happiness and do not even want a small suffering, due to mistakenly engaging with objects of adoptions and objects of abandonment, they do not experience any happiness but suffering. In our minds, sincerely cultivate loving kindness towards all kind mother sentient beings by thinking, how nice it would be if all mother sentient beings were to have excellent happiness and the causes of excellent happiness that are virtues. May they have excellent happiness and its causes. I'll cause them to have excellent happiness and its causes. Lama deity, please bless me to be able to do so. Next, we cultivate compassion towards all suffering mother sentient beings by thinking, how nice it would be if all sentient beings were free from all suffering and the causes of suffering that are non-virtues. May they be free from all suffering and its causes. I will cause them to be free from all suffering and its causes. Lama deity, please bless me to be able to do so. Next, we cultivate bodhicitta. First, we ask ourselves, who should take the responsibility to free all mother sentient beings from the sufferings of samsara and low realms? I should take the responsibility to free all mother sentient beings from the sufferings of samsara and low realms. Even though I should take the responsibility, I do not have the ability to place them in the state of perfect, complete enlightenment now. Who has such ability? Those perfect, complete Buddhas have the abilities to do so. Therefore, for the sake of all mother sentient beings, by all means, I will achieve the precious state of enlightenment. Next, we meditate on emptiness for a short while. The self and the aggregates neither exist as inherently one nor inherently different, thus is empty of inherent existence. Set a good motivation. For the sake of all mother sentient beings, by all means, I will achieve the state of enlightenment. For this, I will listen to the holy teaching and practice properly in order to benefit sentient beings. Thank you. Suggestion pour l'avenir, non? Merci. The outline is examining the number of what has and has not been done. Under this outline there are two verses, verse 37 and verse 38. They say, I have not made offerings to the Bhagawan. I have not given the pleasure of great festivals. I have not performed actions for the teachings. I have not fulfilled the wishes of the poor. I have not granted fearlessness to the frightened, and I have not given happiness to the wretched. All I have given rise to are the agonies in the mother's womb and suffering.
Yesu Japan, the Hajan, rather, Yesu Japan, Jitaku Dunga, Nari, Dua Yoro, and Jitaku Dunga Nari, and Dua Tala, Takanda, Jitati, Troichida, and Minchibishim, that Minchibishim Bakaya Chingus, or Minchibishim Bakaya Chingus. That Dijla, that doing not have been what Sarwa, that doing not have been what Sola, that doing about Tawata, Yoda Demba, Kaya Chingus. This is the thing which you target. Target the Jesse Joba Sambo did and Timmy, what? Which you target Jesse Joba Sambo did and Timmy Shaw, Chairman, Pama Jiro, Jesse Joba and Timmy Shaw, Kaya Magic. That my not that courage, that my not have been a dark glass of digging my not have been mallet to me, Janja, that's moving as a new chipper. Janja, digging by heat to it, the other time, said it very this rock. So Nature to Mala, Marju, Nana Nips and Dunga, that Shilma, said Savagella, Machin Savagella, Yamala, Sigay Jelas about the Livity, Yamala to me, Janga. That religion, did you say religion on this? That this is a dozen of Java to Italy, or that Java to Italy, around the Lapa, the Zechia, Chip, you started that there are none of the Zechia, straight to the south of Java, waiting Java.
In the past, I have not made offerings to the three jewels who are illustrated by the Bhagavan or illustrated by the Buddha jewel, and I have not given the pleasure of great festivals to serve and honor sentient beings as well as the Tathagatas. And here it talks about I have not served and honored Tathagatas, and I have not given the pleasures of I have not given pleasures to sentient beings. And I have not performed actions for the teachings by accomplishing much proper adoptions and much proper adoptions of antidotes and discarding of the objects of abandonment. So I have not performed actions for the teachings. So when we talk about teachings, it can be divided into two: scriptural teaching and realizational teaching. And I have not performed actions for the teachings. So actions for the teachings, such as listening to the teachings, explaining the teachings, and etc. So I have not performed actions for the teaching, and I have not fulfilled the wishes of poor sentient beings. So poor sentient beings or sentient beings who are destitute of resources, wealth, possession, and so forth, and I have not fulfilled their wishes, or I have not practiced by giving them the material things to eliminate their poverty, such as resources, things, monies, and etc., necessities, and etc. And I have not granted fearlessness to those frightened by enemies, so those who are tormented by the sufferings of fear, and I have not granted the protections of fearlessness to them, and I have not given satisfaction to those who are wretched due to suffering. So I have not given satisfaction to those who are wretched due to suffering. It means that I have not done anything to free them from suffering, and I have not done anything to give them happiness. If this is the case, then I have not done any excellent deeds previously. So I have not done any excellent deed previously means that I have not done any actions that is in accord with the Bodhisattva deeds. So all I have given rise to are the agonies in the mother's womb and suffering. So when I was still in the mother's womb, then I create suffering to the mother, and then after giving birth, then I create suffering for the mother to provide me necessities such as food, clothing, and etc. So I regret that I have not enacted others' welfare at all. So therefore, in brief, in summary, so it means that I should strive in the objects of abandonment and the objects of adoptions. So I should strive in accomplishing this, the proper adoptions of antidotes and discarding of the objects of abandonment. Next outline is, it is inappropriate to lose interest in the Dharma. Under this outline is verse 39. It says, if in the past and even now such deprivation are arising because of my lack of interest in the Dharma, who would reject this interest in the Dharma?
다 되게 된다 그래도 다 다음에 새로 누마 문제 새로 누마를 걸어 문제 새로 시다 다 다다지 지원들라서 걸어 새로 누마다 다다지 지원들라 다 기초라 가는 되는 좀 발을 걸어 다 기초라 되는 좀 받아 제 저와서 내 저와 예바디 다 되는 좀 받아 예바디 그 기초 좀 받아 판지 저와 봐 다 기초 좀 받아 판지 됐다 그 고아 CP 받아 판지 시 고아 한 고아는 봐 고아
给我取经。
我给去进就把他就找啊，是吧？那给去进就把他就找，是吧？就把他就找啊。这刚才咱某个要搞什么？我 CP 把他就新的，那时候说地方就碰是吧？地方碰吧，是吧？地方碰两他吧。但等到情况呢，两他办的历史情况呢，他刚才老这的这边开发水平那样，是吧？老这的这边开发水平那样，是吧？他开发水平那样，那去了没吧？啊，天天紧吧，到搞东东木里吧，是吧？东木里吧，那个地方开发可能就能去了天天紧吧，东木里吧，是吧？东木里，那看到空气预报嘞，呀，刚刚做过的空气预报的话，视频过来嘛，空气预报嘞，他办多个人呢，那他办多个人呢，这里他办多个人呢，他当面去了天天紧吧去，是吧？预报这里呀，可以预报这里呀。他把这把那就这当不起来，等于就零八几年都正式上学，我是他等待的话，零八几年正式上学是这样。我正式准备过来的话，那正式准备过来。
If in the past, so in the past, then it refers to past lives. So if in the past and even in this life, even now, so it means that even in this life, so such deprivation conjoined with the troubles of secular existence are still arising because of my lack of interest in the Dharma of virtue by way of ascertainment and belief. So lack of interest in the Dharma of virtue, so it means that one lacks the aspiration to strive for Dharma. So lack of interest in the Dharma of virtue also means that one lacks the inspiration to strive for Dharma. Then which skillful ones would reject this interest in the Dharma? So skillful ones or the so those intelligent ones or which wise one who so which skillful ones or which intelligent ones or which wise ones will reject this interest in the Dharma. So those who wish to be liberated from troubles should generate interest in the Dharma. So those who wish for liberation, to be free from these samsaric troubles, then should generate interest in the Dharma. So it means that one should develop the aspiration to strive for Dharma. So here it urges everyone to put effort in striving for Dharma.
到底就这个的话，到底就这个话，这就这个，你从那团体去找那个特别熟悉，而且那个经验嘛，对吧？那都没问题。
So next outline is its reason. Under this outline is first two lines of verse 40. It says, the Muni himself has said that interest is the root of every class of virtue.
等到这个，但那个就给去学什么？那么给去呢？那团体去找啊，团体去的找啊，对吧？团体去的找啊，那给去，就在那边一起点了就点嘛，那点了就点嘛，都没办法，那都把上去准备就送嘛，也是吧？都把上去准备就送嘛，也是。那点到到这边多的送嘛，也是的，那送多的对吧？就是那对。
So the Muni himself has said that interest that believes in the Dharma of virtue, just as has been ascertained, is the root of every class of virtue. So that interest that believes in the Dharma refers to the aspiration striving for Dharma or striving for the virtuous Dharma. So just as has been ascertained is the root of every class of virtue, the Moonlam Sutra also teaches so. Next outline is indication or brief indication. Under this outline, there are two lines, next two lines of verse 40. Each root is constant acquaintance with the ripening results.
어디 간다 들이 다 출라 내봐 이야 다 간다 내봐 되는 인dimba 로와 자도 게임이 되는 인dimba 되지와라 다 게임이 레레라 놈 인dimba 이시 대바 공부해 당가서 이시 대바 딜레바이나 인dimba 딜레바와 이시 대바 딜레바이나 인dimba 레도 말와 다 레레라 때 간다 이시 대바 딜레 빠지 많이 바이나 이 체가야 자와지비 머니 그들라 되는 인dimba 다 준비치 두고 말이스 그 제일 플러스 좀 내가 체크해서 Yendila Nepa, Nepar Mani Baina, the Chikana, the Jawachi, the Nipaning Maris, Nipaning Mati, to listen to Sumba Chobri, Westwa, Sumba Chobri, Yendili, Nepani, between the Tela, Tenation Timbachi, the Tenation Timbachi, the Tenation Land of Nelatam, the Chobri, yes, it's a Chobris. Kachi, the Villa Resin, Ye, Tombani Nepa, the Tombani Tending Hak, also saying, the Tombani Tenda, the Nishi, the Lendi Lazoni, Mitzingi, Tendiji, Yore, the Washington of the mother, only Tombani Tem, Buddha, is it? Many Tombani turn Koyamas, Tombani turn Kobaina, and Lendi Lazon Liberis, Lendi Lazon Liberis, Lendi Lazon Zawani, never Tombani turn Cosina, that is she of it, when is real, that when it's Maris.
So the root of interest in the Dharma is constant acquaintance with the belief in virtuous and non-virtuous actions and the ripening results. So the root of interest in the Dharma is constant acquaintance with the belief, right? So the faith of conviction. If one has faith of conviction, then one will be able to develop the aspiration. So without the faith of conviction, so one will not be able to generate this aspiration striving for Dharma. So therefore, one should develop this faith of convictions and then generate the aspiration striving for Dharma. And so since you will not gain the certainty that pleases the victors regarding any Dharma, if you do not gain well the certainty regarding actions and their results, you should make effort in it. And claiming to have gained a statement in emptiness, the statement of some that actions and their results are nullified is a case of an understanding of emptiness that has fallen into error. So some claim that, I understand the meaning of emptiness. And then while claiming so, then they say that, while claiming so, they do not have any regard for karmic, for any actions and result, for any karmic actions and results. So in this case, then it is obviously that they do not understand the meaning of emptiness, because if they do understand the meaning of emptiness, then they will have high regard for karmic actions, the practice of karmic actions and results. So if they do not understand it, then they do not have any regard for the practice of actions and results. Contemplating the mixed karma and result. Contemplating the mixed action and result. And under this outline is verse 41. He says, suffering, mental unhappiness, the various kinds of fear, as well as separation from what is desired, will arise from negative deeds.
理解错等于是他错等于是往线或者是理解错等于是吧？也
如果对嘅堂生意错啊，以面嘅哦，
但我只看到往线是吧？往线或者是他错是错等于理解错，等于错等于理解错等于啥？是吧？往线或者是理解错了等于是理解错等于什么那的错等于是这些个吧？错等于是这个就往线或者是理解错等于是些个是吧？也是。但对一些可都是我的身体错，你们对吧？是
一些可都
一些可都是身体错是，那身体错你们对吧？你们对吧？是，但没得没嘛，你把老师对的，是吧？但你把那把那错把它，但这些是吧？这些多老师吧，这个逻辑，你别把那的结完呢，但就第八结巴的就为什么就没掉，是吧？但就第八结巴就没掉啥巴嘞，另外嘞，那第八方呢第八结巴也是，就是咱们等于看看的。这不就是一种么看看的，那就没给也啥办了，对的，那就嘛的，就是说那地方光了，那是结果，哎，这到最后也不要多的。
in this samsara in this world, so migrating beings, they experience physical suffering and the mental feelings of unhappiness. So physical sufferings refers to the sufferings, physical sensation, the physical suffering sensation. They're accompanied with the sense consciousness. Yeah. So physical suffering sensation that accompany the sense consciousness. This physical suffering is what it refers to. So physical suffering refers to the physical suffering sensation that accompany sense consciousness, and the mental feeling of unhappiness. So mental feelings of unhappiness, then it refers to the mental unhappiness, which is just the mental feeling or the mental feelings of unhappiness. So here the unhappiness is a type of mental unhappiness, and it is a feeling of a mental feeling. So this mental unhappiness is a mental feeling. So these mental feelings of mental unhappiness that accompany the mental consciousness. So the physical suffering refers to the physical suffering sensation that accompanies sense consciousness, and the mental feelings of unhappiness, and these unhappiness or mental feeling that accompany the mental consciousness. So the various kinds of fears of humans, non-humans, and so forth, as well as separation from what is desired, such as friends, resources, and the like, arise from cause that are negative deeds. So these undesirables arise from cause that are negative deeds. In other words, they are non-virtuous cause. So hence, I should make effort to abandon negativities. Here again, it urges one to put effort in striving for virtue. Urges one to practice joyous effort.
我这个设计的工作就依了上面的一笔，看到看懂研究，觉得电脑设上的这边研究就是第八学吧，电脑讲，看到看懂研究，觉得电脑第八的电脑成就能把你跟我们说，那就是那个
Under the same outline, there are two verses, verse 42 and 43. They say, by performing virtues intended in the mind, wherever I go, due to those merits, there I shall be honored with the excellences that are their results. Although one who commits misdeeds wishes for happiness, wherever he goes, those misdeeds will completely destroy him with the weapons of suffering.
他本身是贵人，他讲的本身是贵人行的，他讲的就是利益的抗击结果呢，但那么就这个移动啊是吧？你就往这个的，他讲的这里不能的没给往的，他的这里来啥玩意呢？他那么这个移动啊强的吧？移动啊强的，他的七八十，你讲的本身是贵人行的，他给。所以不能让你的给你来啥吧的了，那我们就这么一种东西，是吧？为了说那么也是说是吧？所以那么提给 then knowledge in Jibu religion about Chopin Jobos. That on the getting the Batanji and the social guitar, you know, with the less start the Dodge in Jibu, you don't want and you don't want to reach into the Yamato. So long with the Batanji just was the Dindon, is not that. That's also with you know, to be equal on the Lady Savina and Jibu, you don't want to achieve. Jim McGee, Lady, who couldn't have the Lady Savina, and I'm Jibu to you don't want to. So we didn't the button just because we don't know rest of the law. Didn't the button. Didn't the button just to a minded that depression conduct the one to this. The one to be the inner change. Conduct the logos now. The deeper do not just the number. You need to put you don't want to teach the one and drag your maris who are your interpret your maris. The deeper they do is the number to be the deeper one and the bar. That on that really, JB Tony, take on that. Deeper and deeper, you don't want to do that deeper take on that. Join the get on attack and that super check yes, super check yes. Then GB you did it on GG you did. The rest of the low. GB on GG you did.
Motivated by the minds of abandonment, by performing virtues intended in the mind, whichever birth source I go to. So birth source also referred to birthplace. So whichever birth source I go to, in other words, whichever birthplace I go to, due to those merits, there I shall be honored with the excellences. There are the ripening results. So here it talks about motivated by the minds of abandonment. So if it is motivated by a virtuous causal motivation, then the result will be a pleasant one. If it is not motivated by a virtuous causal motivation, then the results will be unpleasant. And then these do not follow simply due to the wishes for happiness and suffering. So these do not follow simply due to the wishes for happiness and suffering. So even so if you simply wish for happiness and simply wish for suffering, then you will experience the result. So it doesn't work that way. So you must create the concordant cause, the virtuous causal motivation, or the causal virtuous cause, then you will experience the pleasant result. And on the contrary, if you create a non-virtuous cause, then you will experience unpleasant results. So although one who commits misdeeds wishes for happiness, wherever he goes, those misdeeds will completely destroy him with the weapons of suffering. Hence, I should make effort to abandon negativities. So therefore, we should put effort in abandoning negativities, in cleansing or purifying those negativities. The excellences that are the results refer to the way of the nature that are the results.
That each like conduct combat is simple device judge Jesus meaning body jay soon CG create GG payment legend mutual kids jay indeed he says we enjoy that the channel motivations.
Next outline is contemplating the result of the single-pointed wholesome actions. I repeat, contemplating the result of the single-pointed wholesome actions. So under this outline, so there is and it says, when the children of the victors are born in the land of Sukhavati and so forth, as a result of having familiarized with the Dharma of virtue, the spiritual children of the Sukhatas, So when the children of the victors are born in the land of Sukhavati and so forth, as a result of having familiarized with the Dharma of virtue, and then until this point, then the root verse, verse 43, it says, as a result of virtue, I will become a spiritual child of the Sukhatas, dwelling in the hearts of vast, fragrant, and cool lotuses. The food of the victor's pleasant speech will cause my splendor to grow. My supreme body will emerge from a lotus that will unfold due to the light of the Munis, and I will abide in the presence of the victors.
Why the kind of day though? That in my addition will do. That be each of the commercial kind of Joy Sibon, the what you show us about you, the what. Why the kind of genius on you want it? That kind of going to change some of the what is the solution, but to do what you want to say what? Change some of the conduct. Then not to mother Joe, not to meet the chip and Joe, but that's in July. That genius on young, but just on the middle one. Jimmy, the religious soul. I don't get the religious soul. Jenny chip of any nimble in Hasi, in Jordan, that kind of either Carolas of the Bema de Loa, religious sea chip of that Bema either Carolas of Hajan Zeboyo, Shivra, then Damas of Hajan showing of Jacob. They did they mean Nimbola, that you should have been yes, look at each other in the neighborhood. That the Nimble neighbor was the issue. That is a Jimmy cousin is for the chip out of the that's why cheaper. Mazan does say lots of them, cheaper. Cheaper. You did because it's one cheaper. They must have swung one, which is the soon terror. But the letter was, you're a woman of it. You're a woman of it. Very soon. Swing, which is ambitious. What ambitious short of them. Yeah, that so you know, that all the melas, this on you so what? That's so the table. So the table. That's what they get out Jijan. That's what they have the Jijan. They're calling it. This is just a given bunch of that money. Let's say that the money to cheap. What? That G Chibarwa, that G Chibar, about the issue of rich catchy. The issue of rich about them catchy, the Jabashi. They manage that teach about them much they were in jail. That leadership and send the job, each one of them said that David didn't know. David didn't leadership, simple loss of activity, say that page to each one. That you also think Chepas that you want this, that's what churching it, that against that so good double jigging, that the churches of Lamas against that you want this chip, there are this there. That joy is one of the when you not in it, you choose for children in your job. That children to the central job. They want this chip. That chip at the other day, that they watch it says, the watch it says to the guy there, the number to be here. Yes, number to be here. What is it?
So when the children of the victors are born in the land of Sukhavati and so forth, as a result of having familiarized with the Dharma of virtue, the spiritual children of the Sukhatas, so those Bodhisattvas, they dwell in the hearts of lotuses, the attributes of their birth source or birthplace, a birth source that is vast, fragrant, pleasing, cool, and generate bliss upon contact. So those Bodhisattvas, they dwell in the heart of lotuses and etc. So their birthplace, they are born miraculously. They are born miraculously in this birth source or birthplace. So born in a lotus, in the heart of a lotus, and that is fragrant, pleasing, and etc. So, and these lotuses are these lotuses endowed with beautiful form and with a very beautiful color as well. And those are a very joyous birth or joyous birth source. And hearing the victor's pleasant speech that possesses the 60 branches of melodious qualities. So hearing the victor's pleasant speech, such as Amitabha, that possesses the 60 branches of melodious qualities, which is distinguished from the sustenance by food of worldly beings, as well as the subject matter of that speech. So the subject matter of that speech, the food of the realizations of suchness. So suchness refers to emptiness. So the food of the realizations of suchness or emptiness causes their magnificence and splendor to grow. Then as the attribute of birth, they emerge from lotuses that open up and unfold due to the light of Munis Tathagatas. And again, this is a type of miraculous birth. Then they have supreme bodies ornamented by the signs and exemplifications, the attribute of body. So their bodies are ornamented by signs and exemplifications, unlike the samsaric body. Then, as the attribute of tutor, they abide in the presence of the victors such as Amitabha and are nurtured with the Dharma. So as the attributes of tutor, then you can understand it as one's teacher, or you can also understand it as the Lama from whom you receive the teaching. So they abide in the presence of the victors such as Amitabha and are nurtured with the Dharma. So they will become the spiritual children of the Sugatas by means of having these attributes as a result of the single-pointed virtues of wholesome actions.
Somebody that was somebody not be somebody that Shinji Jibi, Baba Mali Shin, Shin, Tachi, but the Sun May issue, Sanju, Yula, Nujilas, by Shajun to Shay, Baha His, Shinon by Judge Session, Mugim University.
Next outline is contemplating the result of unwholesome actions. Contemplating the result of unwholesome actions. Under this outline is verse 45. He says, as a result of many non-virtues, I will be very wretched due to all my skin without exception being ripped off by the henchmen of Yama. Molten copper melted by tremendous heat will be poured into my body. Pierced by flaming swords and daggers, my flesh will be cut into hundreds of pieces, and I shall plummet upon the fiercely blazing iron ground.
That did not be somebody water. That not be needed on the Soji. Soji is that deeper moving lit such as some easy to the That's what is the deeper moving lit such Sawaina. That digging non contributed coins. The no was hungry, or no one Machiagi. The no one little this kind of Soji is deeper moving such as I did. And maybe Soji that some Shibata, Chibon related to your. That the biggest sanky. Let's get some children to give the colleagues. No one live for this. Then no one live color, the long living, but they want it. The part and that long no one can live is not. That Shinji, Jibber, Jesus, hard jump finance of the league. The Leone, they don't Chebarato. Rua, the Subit, the Karchi is not. That donkey, Rua, Papa Mali, Jibber Shinji, Papa Mali, Shiba. That the one she got Namtach. The league, Moji, Sayu, May, he does and qua, so he's a cut loop, super loop, that you are. This is a level he used to the level. The Sandy quat, that made on a Sanji quat, you could work with the leaf about the cut loop. That they must member Jartinduna, Lulas, but the digits of the meaning. They kept the little window with Jim, tolerance. They must just sort of guess a need of that combat. Is a combat enough, but a member is on your judge combat, member on him. The Lichipet, the English. What? That the Lichipet, yes, that the Lichipet, that can't around that's what you saw. That's how many the children will lay us and Magi get touching the side, the non to give it, not give spirit up, not letting it. I didn't listen, years ago.
Due to actions such as killing, so unwholesome actions also refers to those actions, especially those heavy negative actions, such as killing, such as immediate retributions, actions of immediate retribution, and actions of abandoning dharma, negative actions of abandoning dharma, and etc. So due to these actions, I will be very wretched due to suffering by way of all my skin without exception, being ripped off by the henchmen of Yama in hell, and as an attribute of henchmen of Yama in hell. So these henchmen of Yama in hell is also accomplished due to one's negative karma. So is accomplished or is formed by one's negative karma. And as an attribute of resource, the liquid of molten copper melted by tremendous heat will be poured into my body through my mouth, and whereby I will find it very difficult to bear. Not only that, but pierced by flaming swords and daggers, my flesh will be cut into hundreds of pieces and scattered around. As an attribute of a boat, so a boat is like the house or the place where you stay. Then I shall plummet on the fiercely blazing iron ground and become wretched. As the result of many non-virtuous actions, such as the actions of immediate retribution and abandoning the Dharma, I will experience these unpleasant results.
난 유도들은 maybe 주고로 내가도 유도 시고로 maybe 유도들 이 그런 메저신 이번에도 공부하셔서 어디 지금
Next outline is summary. Under this outline are the first two lines of verse 46. It says, "Therefore, I should be interested in virtue and with great respect acquaint myself with it."
어디게 된다더라 유도들이 간다 이 비용의 디버그 리미트에서 하던 접근 준세도 상황이 심하지 그와 아다 이 비용의 디버그 리미트에서 예미 시도 치와 준세도 하고 비터는 난 렌데 측이 상고와 난 렌데 측에서는 이 신체 무기와 오와다 이슈 리레이션 하나 내서봐 이게 리레이트가 되는 dimba 된 dimba 치시와 된 dimba 치시 그 상황 타비도와 된 dimba 치시 그 상황 아마 근데 얘기를 해지 대봐 땡도 뭐네 무슨 맛이야 되는다 이들이 지 대봐 땡도 본도 보는데 이 샤워라 나간다 아 누가 연이 제가 공부해야 돼
So therefore, having properly reflected upon actions and their results, so having properly reflected upon actions and their results, so means that you properly contemplate, you properly contemplate actions and their results, think about the benefits of virtues and also the disadvantages or drawbacks of negativities. Then I should be interested in virtue and with great respect acquaint myself with it by means of belief. So by means of belief refers to the faith of belief or the faith of conviction. So by through these faith of belief or faith of conviction, then I should develop the aspiration striving for virtue.
어디 올라가가 되다 어쩌다 땡기도 자기 땀 내비도 더 산도와 땀 내비도 더 산도 땅에서 땡기도 더 것을 내고와 다 땡기도 간들에 내가 땅에 좀 받더라 여지 저지 조언이 장면이 아주 뭔가 차서 그치와 어디 쉬와
So just now the outline is summary, right? So it summarizes the power of interest. So next we're going to talk about the power of steadfastness. So under this power of steadfastness, then the outline is having examined well, undertake it. Having examined well, undertake it. Under this outline is the next two lines of verse 46. It says, having undertaken through the procedure of Vajradraja, I should cultivate pride.
어디나 됐으면 너디 배보치기와 너디 배보치기 봐봐 넌지 잔세지 주고 뜬도 응원이 두 번에 맞습니다. 와 너디 배보치서 봐봐 너지 잔세지 뜬도 응원 두 번에 맞습니다. then 타이 그 유만 차원 미와다 지미냥 받아서 then 이비 못 봐. then 예수지 그 예나서 나와 셰바 따라서 때 배셔온다. 나와 셰바다 자 전주신 신주 전주 차와라. 다 신지진이가 나서 도움이 됐어와 신지진이 바나서 도움 말이스 다 예수지 디자인하고 디자인 주민 받아 다 주민 받아 다 용어 받아 예 좋아지 이게 좋아요 이게 내들어 이게 장바디 다 타신 것이 누가 무슨 때문에 이제 땡보고 뭐 예스 좋아
근데 초가대 가리나고나.
초가 때문에 되와 역시 디자인은 말 좋아 섀도우 해서 좋아 이 컨셉 좋아요. 이 초가 세워도 된다 되네. 이 샤워 두당 되게 셔. 두당 가리 두고에서 두당 내 샤워 두당 되게 셔로. 어떻게 두도 두당 되게 좀 셔. 위에 장이 와 장바디니 다도 탈신바 제니 두바 샤워 두바 뉴스는 되게 그냥 이제 땡보고 해서 근데 이제 땡보고 해야 돼. 와 강성바디 게셔라 매전제 봐 강성바디 와 그때를 봐 장바디 다시 같이 내가 이제 땡고 시작해 그래서 어디 지난 월 말리더라 도와서
So the sixth chapter on dedication of the Aya Vajradraja Sutra from the Avatamsaka says, Avatamsaka says, for example, son of the lineage, just as the dawning sun illuminates worthy objects without being prevented by faults, such as those who are blind and uneven mountains, Bodhisattvas dawning for the sake of others are not prevented by various faults of sentient beings, and ripen and liberate those worthy to be tamed. And having undertaken virtuous actions through the procedure taught above. So the procedure refers to the modes of accomplishing those virtuous qualities as mentioned in the sutra. So having undertaken virtuous actions through the procedure taught above, I should cultivate the pride that acts to culminate them. So I should cultivate the pride. So that acts to culminate them means that I should cultivate this pride that I can culminate these virtuous actions. I'm able to do these virtuous actions. I'm able to perform these virtuous actions. So you should cultivate the pride that acts to culminate them. Under the same outline is verse 47. It says, at the beginning, having examined the endowments, I should either undertake it or not undertake it. It is best not to undertake it, but once I have undertaken it, I should not withdraw. At the beginning of engaging in activities, having examined well whether the endowments of my mind are able or not, I should either undertake them if there is ability or not undertake them if there is not. It is best not to undertake it if I lack the ability. But once I have undertaken it, I should not withdraw until I have completed it. So here it talks about we shouldn't simply engage in activities without examination. So it means that we should examine well and check properly whether we have the ability, the mental strength, or the ability to do so or not, to do the activities that we are about to engage in. So such as receiving vows, such as Bodhisattva vows, layman vows, lay vows, or tantric vows. So whichever vow that you're about to receive, then you should check properly whether I have the ability to guard those vows or not. So you should check in this way. So if you have the ability, then you should receive those vows, and then you should strive to guard those vows. And after you receive vows, for example, Bodhisattva vows, and then and if you think that you are unable to guard those vows, then you should not undertake it. So you should not take those vows. So that is what it means by it is best not to undertake it if I lack the ability. So it means that if after examination and you find that you do not have the ability to guard those vows, then you don't take it. You don't take those vows from the very beginning. And after examination, and if you find that you have the ability to guard those vows and you take those vows, then you should try your best to guard those you should try your best to guard those precepts, not to transgress those not to transgress those precepts, and then not discarding those vows as well. And then so but once I have undertaken it, then I should not withdraw until I have completed it. And especially like these Bodhisattva vows, then when you take Bodhisattva vows, then you promise that I will guard these vows until the end, until the end of cycle existence, or until samsara becomes empty. So you have promised to guard. You have promised in this way when you take these Bodhisattva vows. So therefore, if you have the ability to guard those precepts, then you should take those vows. And then once you take those vows, then you should be careful, and you should put effort in guarding those vows. So because nowadays there are many faults happens because of not having done a proper examination before one engaged in activities such as relying on a spiritual teacher, or relying on a lama, relying on the virtuous friends. Then without without the prior proper examination, then many people face difficulties after later. Next outline is the fault of discarding what has been undertaken. Under this outline is verse 48. It says, I will familiarize with that in other rebirths, and negativities and suffering will increase. Also, others at the time of the result will be inferior and will not be accomplished.
condition 시장 되게 샤와 요 안다 샤와 겜바티 냠바죠 취사와 매번 이바죠 이런 거로 샤와 매번 이바죠 뭐 간다 나 놈한테 쇼는 시장 되게 샤와 겜바티서 간다 냠바마다 냠바죠다 취사와다 매번 저거 쓰고로 매번 저거 됐어 나 장에 도이 님이 그 지장 하든 힘도 좀 와, 나 리셔와 송아데 돈에 데니 데이 제부 뒤자 하체 힘도 좋아. 와, 좋아. 된 제부네 보죠. 근데 이거스. 다 장에 보이 샤와. 된 엄마들와 장에 보이 샤와 엄마들 다 마신이 받으러와. 때 시제 되는 도바 이거 말이스. 와, 시제 되 도바 이거 말이스. 엄마 장에 보이 샤와들와 다 마신 받아. 봐도 때 시작 이 도바 이거 말이스. 반죽을 많이 쓰고와 시제들이 또 먼저 판타시가 제거를 해서와 다다 쉬지 좀 샤워나마도做的 시즈 이게 샤워인다 이 샤워제가 이 미바주와 미바주인다 이 주르고 저거도 주르고 거야 이 무서워와 근데 이 그래서 나도 미미들이 그래서 당연히 샤워장에 도바 있는 건 미미들이 지금 그래서 근데 도도를 때리다 도도를 먼저 라바트서 뭔가 좀 너무 캐나 아마 뭐 쉬어와 뭐지 캐나 대다지도 대마 대바지 당연히 라미 선반하시 대소소리 맞지 바지 당연히 내가 사진 걸려 보는 거 내가 사진 걸려 보는
Question: What misdeed is there to undertake something and then discard it? Response: due to the result similar to the cause of that created previously. 제발 규칙으로 하기실랑은 저한
그 제법 준비지
제가 대한 제변 규칙이 레로.
제법 준비지 접해서 말리스나 나서 준비지 내버려서 근데 노원 준비지 접해서 제법 준비지 접해서 니네고 노원 준비지 접해서 나서 체데 이게 그랑 체 통하다 네마와다 딱 한다 내가 나서 뭐 유엔 지로와 그 노원 준비지 접해서 제법 준비지 접해서 빼두자 돼 다들 간다 체들라서도 간다 미 지와내는 거 있나요? 그 소치라 가와 밀라 저치라 가와 밀라 삼바 나고 제 수도 가와 좋아지는 게 들리 제법 되게 좀 되게 양자 때 제만 누가 사칭 받으나 그 들리 제법 되게 있어 제법 되게 좀 들리 거 세들아 꾸주리나 가기 때 그스야 진짜 세라 가보는 이유가 근데 제법 되게 좀 휴청 거였다 제법 되게 좀
So due to the result similar to the cause of that created previously, so result similar to the cause of that created previously, in other words, is causally concordant, causally concordant behaviors. The result similar to the cause of that created previously. So in other words, is causally concordant behaviors. And I will also discard what is undertaken and familiarize with that in other rebuffs. So when we talk about results, so there are two types of result. One is causally concordant behavioral results and causally concordant experiential results. So causally concordant experiential results refers to such as one will experience if one engaged in killing, then one will experience short life or many sickness in this life. And causally concordant behavioral results. So this results is considered very bad because it will produce heavy suffering results in the future again. So we say that this causally concordant behavioral results is very bad because it will produce again the heavy suffering results. For example, if one engaged in killing, then the causally concordant behavioral result is one will tend to like killing in this life. For example, if some kids at a very young age, then they somehow they like to kill a lot of bugs, insects, and etc. So this is also a sign that they have these causally concordant behavioral results. So due to this result, then I will also discard what is undertaken and familiarize with that in other rebirths. And negativities, the result created by a being who degenerates his promise. So negativities, the result created by a being who degenerates his promises. So here it refers to the causally concordant behavioral results. And there are ripening results, suffering will increase. Also, regarding other activities that are undertaken later and the time of their result, they will be inferior and will take a long time, and other actions will also not be accomplished. So if we were to transgress or discard what we have promised or what we have received or what we have committed ourselves to do, such as tree trainings, such as Bodhisattva vows, such as those commitments and promise when we receive initiations or empowerments, then if we transgress those commitments or those promise, if we discard them, then or through, for example, unable to fulfill the recitation, unable to fulfill those commitments, unable to practice the sadhana, if we transgress or discard those commitments through being unable to fulfill the practice of sadhana, then we will receive many disadvantages or many drawbacks. For example, in these lives, then the negativities will increase, and then we will experience ripening results in other lives. So then, and those ripening results of these actions, discarding or transgressing commitments and etc., then it will be a suffering result, suffering ripening results in others' life. And so other actions that we undertake then will become inferior, and then some it goes to waste, and then even if we were to undertake those activities, then it will become very weak. It will become a very small power. You only endowed with small power. And and those actions that we have undertaken, then it will take a long time to culminate or to complete those actions as well. So due to discarding what we have undertaken, then we will experience these kinds of drawbacks. Negativities increase, experience suffering ripening results, and the other actions that we undertake, then it will take a long time, and some go to waste, and then it will become inferior, or it will endowed with little power, and then it will take a long time to culminate those actions as well. So if we abandon or discard what we have undertaken, then these are the drawbacks that we are going to experience.
현지도 겨울에 쪼인 주바들라 내지가 됐다 원래 그러와
걔가 drawing again.
현지도 겨울에 쪼인 주바 요와 쪼인 주바들 내지가 다 방자 뉴무바 그와 방자 뉴무 용반데 뉴무 맞아 방자 뉴무 용반데 봐 방자 뉴무 용반데 봐데 뉴무 맞아 와 방자 뉴무 용반데 봐 요와 뉴무 맞아 다 인지 샤워 두바다 방자 뉴무소 소와 소 용바소 다그 미소 냐비 에리 냐서 미소 냐바데 니빙아 제세라 다그 미소 냐바지 요와
현지 자와 두바 현지 자와 두바
인지 샤워 두바다 방자 뉴무 용바소 와 방자 뉴무 용바소 다그 미소 냐바지 요와 미소 냐바지 에리데 니빙아 제세 다들라 소소 추슈를 뜻한다 그러면 내가
That's right. So next outline is stabilizing what has been undertaken and embarked upon. And under this outline, the sub-outline is brief indication. So under this sub-outline is first two lines of verse 49. It says, apply pride to the three actions, afflictions, and ability. Verse 40. Then he says, so therefore, in order to fulfill your promises, apply the pride of non-discouragement and generate strength with respect to the three, the actions of performing it once an activity has been embarked upon, the afflictions that are to be abandoned, and the ability to engage in the wholesome and to turn away from the unwholesome. So first two lines of verse 49, here it says actions, afflictions, and ability, right? So here it refers to three types of pride. Pride of actions, pride of afflictions, and pride of ability. So these three actions, afflictions, and ability are the three types of pride. So the first one is pride of actions. So pride of actions refers to enthusiastic engagement in virtue for the sake of others. So the first one is pride of actions. So it refers to enthusiastic engagement in virtues for the sake of others. And the second one is pride of afflictions. So pride of afflictions refers to the wish to destroy the afflictions, the objects of abandonment. And the third one is pride of ability. So pride of ability refers to the thoughts, thinking, I'm able to do, I'm able to accomplish I'm able to accomplish others' activities, and I'm destroying afflictions, the objects of abandonment, and so forth. I repeat the third one. The pride of ability refers to the thoughts, thinking, I'm able to do so. I'm able to accomplish others' activities, destroying the objects of abandonment, afflictions, and so forth. So it's a thought, thinking that I'm able to accomplish others' activities and destroying the objects of abandonment, afflictions, and so forth. So these are the three types of pride.
But all legend I did in this one, but I didn't know legend I did in this one. The cheap shower, the legend I did is that the moment she was. That was sigma city to Namaka to Jody. But Danny Chibu, the Dubai shower, he need to demonstrate. That's English to Garwa, Hindi to another. Danny Chibu, Dubai shower, he be the little chip at it. And legend I just love. That did 600 one. Danny Chibu. Danny Chibu showers in Dua. But the Danny hints there that Danny Chibu to Dubai shower, I can never tell that Danny Chibu to Dubai shower and the little chip at it. And legend I just noticed. And the any Naja and Dawa Yusuza. Naja can win Dawa so that Naja Tower is in that Maso. She then was in Najida. Mean Dawa to Chua. And the mean Dawa says that the year and that Chibu. When you do a Chari is a telling Yambala, that Naja and Dawan of Giora, Dawan of Sunza, that and the thing I get it, Tava, isn't that you don't know the name I get Dikisha Mata, and that thing I get so that naming I get a position of that, and then I just want to the name of Naja Shimoda, and you moving I get 야 지난 신달 리그 좋아 뉴모도 맞아 세워디 근데 데이터 가서 지난 가서 내가 뉴모 발라 맞아 실어도 내가 가서 뉴모도 맞아 시시했다
Next outline is identifying the pride of action. Identifying the pride of action. So the next two lines of verse 49, it says, therefore, thinking I alone shall do it is the pride of action. So then thinking I alone shall do it. So it means that for the sake of others, I alone shall do it. So this thinking refers to the mental strength. So there is a mental strength thinking I alone shall do it for the sake of others. So is the pride of action. So since it is similar to pride, so therefore it is labeled as pride, or is given the term pride. So, and when we talk about pride, here, this pride, there are three types of pride: pride of actions, afflictions, and ability. Then they are not afflicted prides. They are not afflicted prides. So, in other words, they are not pride mixed with afflictions. So they are antidotal pride. They are the pride which is antidote. So this pride that we are talking in this context, they are not afflicted pride. They are antidotal pride. Yeah. So next outline is the reason for doing so. The reason for doing so. So under this outline, then it's verse 50. It says, afflicted, powerless beings in this world are unable to accomplish their own welfare. Migrating beings are not able like me. Therefore, I shall do this. So you should accomplish the activities of sentient beings by yourself without relying upon others. So then worldly beings who are powerless due to afflictions are unable to accomplish even their own welfare in this life. So worldly beings refers to those ordinary beings, then they are made powerless because of afflictions, so they cannot even accomplish their own welfare. Hence, migrating beings are not able, like me, to strive in virtue for others. Even if I were to rely on them, there will be no benefit. Therefore, I should do all of these activities for others' welfare myself. So other migrating beings, they are not able, like me, to strive in virtue for others. So even if I rely on them, there would be no benefits. And so because they can't even accomplish their own welfare, so therefore, even if I rely on them, there will be no benefits. And so I should take the responsibility upon my head. So in other words, I should carry the burden upon my head, the burden or the responsibility for the sake of others, working for the sake of others. I should carry this responsibility upon my head. So it indicates the mental strength, indicates the mental encouragement that you have, the mental courage that you have, then to work for the welfare of others. So since others are unable to strive in virtues like me, therefore, I should strive in virtue without relying on others. So this is the meaning, the condensed meaning of this verse is: I should strive in virtue for the sake of others without relying on others. Next outline is applying the pride of taking responsibility even for the inferior work of others. Even for the inferior work of others. I repeat. Applying the pride of taking responsibility even for the inferior works of others. Under this outline is verse 51. It says, if others are doing inferior work, why do I sit around? I do not perform it out of pride. It would be best for me to have no pride.
Rani ke sinje tanji ki che wa sinje tanji jobo ta ki ki wa rani ke de ke na shi yobo na shi ki che to ne ke tanda de de hinji tanda to sa ta de la ga da to yi to ne ke sha wa ni ya la ta ngo ne Buddha words wa Buddha words ta kanda wa da de de da ini cheba shi wa ini cheba shi 다 간다 나게 제 나게 거 된다데 와 이게 심지 그가 잡았다고 봐 되시지 그러니 되게 제나시 내가 제가 되듯이 저 내가 제가帮거 와. 나지帮거라 다 너무 나지 들어와 누구다 나지 대파 대파 가는 거 와. 뭐 이게 지면 봐 컨셉이 나지 들어와.
So further, if others are doing inferior work such as farming, so why do I myself will carry the great responsibility for sentient beings upon my head sit around leisurely? I should work. When others are doing inferior work, if I think I'm performing it out of the pride that thinks I'm performing noble actions, then it will be best to not perform it out of such pride, and for me to have no afflicted pride. Thus, I should abandon it because it will lead me to the bad migrations. So here it says that here it says that those inferior works, right? So inferior works such as throwing rubbish, farming, or cleaning, and etc. Those we consider as inferior works. So when those workers they engage in farming, when they are farming, then they engage in it with much enthusiasm and with a very joyous with a joyous mind as well. So they sing songs and etc. while they work in a farm. So and engaging in those inferior work, then we shouldn't. It is not necessary to. There is no need to think that I'm shy or because I'm doing these inferior works. So here, the work that we are doing for the work that we need to engage in is working for the sake of all sentient beings, right? So this work, so this work, then we shouldn't so then we should act like those farmers. They enjoy when they engage in farming and etc. They engage in it with a joyful mind. So similarly, when I work for the welfare of sentient beings, when I engage in these activities, then I should think that all sentient beings are like kings. All sentient beings are like kings. I am the servant of all of sentient beings. So I'm the servants of all kings, and then through thinking in this way, then through thinking in this way, eliminate my pride. And pride here refers to the afflicted pride. So when we work for the welfare of sentient beings, we think that all sentient beings are like kings, and then I am the servants of all kings. So through thinking this way, eliminate the afflicted pride. So if you are doing such a work, which is working for the welfare of all sentient beings, how could I relax? How could I sit around leisurely? So I should put in effort in working for the welfare of sentient beings instead of just sitting around leisurely. And when I work for the welfare of sentient beings, I should enact with an enthusiastic mind. I should enact with a joyful mind. So this is what definitely I should engage in this way, because even those farmers, so those we considered as inferior works, when they work in the when they are farming, they enjoy the so-called inferior work. So if I'm engaged in these activities, which is working for the welfare of sentient beings, definitely I should develop a joyful and enthusiastic mind. So here the condensed meaning is, when we work for the welfare of sentient beings, we should abandon the afflicted pride.
하장이 민비 레체바 라니베 데라 하장 토바 토이 남바지 들이 상호토네 땅바이는 지금 말씀으로와 대가자 님은 가자 띠띠 농가 님은 가자 데리게 신제다 하장 내가 지야 돼 메마 라니베 하장 되네 토와 데리게 남바지지 토이 가자 데 봉고 데스 데가서 저바 휴지 뒤토네 전두바이나다 자시지 저바 초리 예스 이 님은 가자 데 봉 예스 나다 이 하장면 봐 아니 때 하장 토와지 우리 토이 남바지 데리게 상호토비 이 말씀으로다 얘도가 땅원에 님은 데 가자 그러와 이 방법 이 방법이 다소도 더 좋아지와 신지 잡고나시 상황 수도 되게 개나시 상황 그때 내가 두알 때 개대 두알 야부주 수도 더 좋아지 어디 이제 대박이 비신갈 해 레레 더 좋아지는 내가 아니 배신지 내가 두알 때 더 좋아지 그다 부터 내가 네 상담 수고라 내가 민물 때리와 뭐야 내가 가게 봐 딱 하는 데
Ini yang dia orang sendiri di tuan tu di Jawa dua lah ini yang gaduh gitu ni yang di Jawa lah ini yang dia yang katakan di Singapura Jawa ini di Singli Jawa kap lah di Sietang ya Jawa dia lah dia yang di Nangsing Jawa dia
betul betul di Jawa tu kalau ani tu hias je kita tu sejak kita Jawa tu hias sudah Jawa Jawa lah betul ni kita tu tanda dia doa doa je 나 신체보다 하자 멤버 그것도 내가 제일 멤버 시부를 했어. 나랑 또 통부 시부를 해서 넘어지구나 땡지기 말했어. 나 땡님은 말했어.
맞아. So if you were to think that other sentient beings, they are engaging in inferior works, and then as compared to them, I'm much higher, I'm on a higher positions and etc., or you're holding higher aspects than them, then definitely this will become an afflicted pride. So therefore, we should enthusiastically and joyously engage in the activity enacting for the welfare of others through thinking that all sentient beings are like kings and I am the servants of all kings, and then through thinking in this way abandon the afflicted pride. So and then I should joyously and enthusiastically engage in the activities of engage in the activities for the sake of all sentient beings, and then I should engage in them joyously and enthusiastically, just like how those farmers engage in farming, enjoy in farming. Yeah, so we should we should enthusiastically and joyously engage in the activity for the sake of other sentient beings, just like how those farmers enjoy farming. So through singing song and then etc. This just like how they joyously and enthusiastically engage in farming. And next outline is the fault of lacking pride in ability. The fault of lacking pride in ability. Under this outline is verse 52 and the first two lines of 53. It says, when encountering a dead snake, even crows will act as though they are Garudas. If I'm weak, I shall be harmed by even a small downfall. How do the faint-hearted who have given up asserting themselves find liberation from destitution? Cutting the job.
그래서 리스 사야가 직접하는 신도도 제발와 또도 전에 사야지는 것이 대나시라고 그러와 대나시 딱 가지 때문에 저바 대기도 다비 내모 냥추와 내모 냥추 제야 말이죠 내모 니가 휴치모 공부스 그러와 내모 냥추 제야 말이지 내모 냥추나 내모도 냥추바이나 그러와 내모 냥도 추바이나 다 동안 전부다 저 요난조 시험을 거지 동안 전부들이 동안 중국이어서 같이 제거해서 그러와 동안 전부를 같이 시험을 그 동안 중국에서 내가 제거했어 내가 제거해서 여러 안 되다 힘이 니가 좋아 와라 좋아라 또 콤비네가래 와 선바 shum바 지리 또 선바 shum바 지리와 내가 간다 동안 중국에서 들리기 내가 지리 계속 선바 shum바 지리 되니 두바라 또 좋아도 콤비네가라 내 나야 가봐 여다 매 가봐 여다 매지 좀 간다 리생지 와 이렇게 뭐 강지다 와 동안 전부 간다와 동안 전부게 전종바 맞아 수도게 와 년부대 남도 충분이나 다 동안 전부게 수종다 좀 동안 중국 내가 지금 예세 어디야 와 동안 중국 내가 지금 예세.
So the outline is the fault of lacking the pride of ability. So just now I said the fault of lacking pride in ability, right? Sorry, I rephrase the fault of lacking the pride of ability. So it talks about the pride of ability. So, So in order to destroy the afflictions, you should generate the power of the antidotes. When encountering that snake, even crows will act as though they are Garudas. Likewise, if I'm weak in the antidotes, I shall be harmed on the path by obstacles, even a small downfall. Yeah. So, so here it talks about the pride of ability, and when we talk about crows and snake, so a snake eats, because snakes eat crows, so therefore crows are afraid of snake. So, however, if the snake is died, then the crows will develop this courage and even eat the snake as well. Eat the snake. So therefore, we need to generate the power of the antidotes to destroy afflictions. If our power of antidotes is weak, then don't mention that definitely we will be harmed by, or we will definitely be destroyed by great downfalls. Then even a small downfall can harm me as well.
어떻게 창이다와 방아서 동안 또 제마 두바이나 년보면 또 충나이나 동안 친구 있어 내가 제 누가 좀 동안 중국이나 같이 내가 지금 예스다 들어와 내가 지금 예스 와 다들 년보 진리 또 제마니 봐 다다는 녀무비 와 녀무비 녀무 되다 와 제발라 삼바 shum바 당아서 막 들어오라 성심마 누가 총으로 와 녀무 제가라 니냐도 들리기 삼바 shum바 제바 이나서 와 이 녀무 하나 지니서 들리 삼바 shum바다 제베톤 제바 이나 녀무 와 우리 제바 이나 조이 녀무 포라 하자 쩨바다 도로 녀무 포라 쩨바다 도로 시작하는 와 이 shum바 제바 이나 녀무 포라 수와시로와 포라 녀무 포라 수와테마 도로 그랬어 와 도로 그랬어 근데 좋아 도네 리생기 하상 리생기 된 영국 관을 주발라 하자 셴바다 레로왕 다들이 레로왕 로서와 좀바 도사디 된 영국 관을 하자 생주도 마차다디 레로왕이 로서디 대공관을 좋아 지금 말했어 좋아 내가 말했어 좋아 메바 되라 포비네가와 포비네가 마시잖아 담아 포비네가 마시잖아 막 나야 공부 되려야 탑이 와 공부들이야 탑이 값 넘버 빈도 누가 문도 제와시 이어 말했어
공부들이
공부들이 탑이고 탑이 요 말했어 와 나 좀바더니 세 이세지 슈바제서 와 레노한테 도서와 좋아요 말와 좋아 매차디 내 공부 마시 들이야 야 공부들이야 탑이 값지 넘버 빈도 요래베스나 아디요 그래서 받는다 요 말했어 까 메도스 근데 와서 리세 이거는 좀
So therefore, how do those acting with a faint-hearted attitude? So faint-hearted attitude also, in other words, is discouraged attitude. So discouraged attitude. So who have given up exerting themselves in accomplishing the two purposes, even ever find liberation from the state of destitution. For due to being destroyed by laziness, their engagements of body and mind will degenerate. So if we are unable to generate the power of antidote, and then we feel discouraged, thinking that how can I do it? How can I do it? So then we will discard the exertion to abandon afflictions. So having discarded the exertion to abandon afflictions, then we have come under the control of afflictions. So when we engage in those actions of eliminating the abandoning the afflictions, then we will have no enthusiasm. There will be no enthusiasm in abandoning afflictions. And then in the commentary, it says, how can we find liberation from the states of destitution? So then the answer is there is no way that we can find liberation from the states of destitution. Next outline is the benefits of applying the pride. Under this outline is next two lines of 53 and 54. You say, So they say, by generating pride and exertion, even the great will find it hard to overcome me. Therefore, with a steady mind, I shall overcome the downfalls. If I am defeated by a downfall, my wish to be victorious over the three realms will become a joke. Contrary to this, by generating the pride that produces the strength of the antidote and exertion through application, even the great objects of abandonment will find it hard to overcome me or hard to harm me. So those great objects of abandonment will find it difficult to harm me if I generate the pride that produces the strength of the antidote and exertion. So therefore, with a steady mind, I shall overcome the downfalls. For if I'm defeated by a downfall, in other words, if I'm unable to produce the strength of the antidote and exertion, and defeated by a downfall, then my wish to be victorious over all of the three realms will become a joke. So it will become laughable if you say that, if you wish to be victorious over all the three realms, yet you are unable to produce the strength of the antidote and exertion to defeat the downfall. Next outline is abiding in the antidotal pride. Under this outline is verse 55. He says, I will conquer everything, and nothing at all shall conquer me. I, a son of the lion-like victor, shall dwell in this pride.
그 강수 님은 가리는 신도도 말씀 내가 지도 말씀으로 강기는 다 뒤점이 뒤서지 그다 따반지 봐 저거 생기 저거 생기 있어 답이 다 저거 생기 있어서 세수 집이 전주 생각을 보나 된다 되는
So hence, I shall dwell in this supreme pride. So supreme pride here refers to the supreme antidotal pride, thinking I will conquer every fault and no objects of abandonment at all in the three realms shall conquer me. So I, a son of the lion-like victors, so refers to Bodhisattvas, who frightens the deer-like Maras, the folders and the like, will do it. So next outline is condemning the afflicted pride. Condemning the afflicted pride. Under this outline is verse 56. He says, any migrating being is destroyed by pride. Afflicted, he has no pride. Those with pride do not succumb to the power of the enemy. They have come under the power of the enemy of pride. Any migrating beings is destroyed by the pride of an inflated mind and is ruined. So any migrating beings is destroyed by the pride of an inflated mind and is ruined. So this pride of an inflated mind refers to afflicted pride. And due to having come under the influence of afflictions, he has no great pride, because it should be the case that those with pride do not succumb to the power of the enemy. He has no great pride. So great pride here refers to antidotal pride. So he has no great pride. In other words, he has no antidotal pride, because it should be the case that those with pride do not succumb to the power of the enemy, which is afflictions. But those migrating beings whose minds are inflated have come under the power of the enemy, that is afflicted pride. So those whose minds are inflated, so refers to those ordinary beings, or that they have come under the power of the enemy, that is afflicted pride, or those ordinary pride. So we conclude with dedication. We dedicate these roots of virtue to the flourishing of Buddha Dharma and to the excellent happiness of all sentient beings. We also dedicate these roots of virtue to all upholders of Buddha's teaching, mainly illustrated by His Holiness the Dalai Lama, and may they have excellent health, and may they live long, and may all their enlightened activities and holy wishes be accomplished instantaneously and spread in all directions. And we also dedicate these roots of virtue especially to our beloved teacher Gyaltsen Lama Zopa Rinpoche. May Rinpoche's holy wishes be accomplished instantaneously and spread without any obstacle. And we also dedicate these roots of virtue to world peace, and may excellent happiness prevail throughout the world. May wars, conflicts, disaster, natural disaster, pandemic diseases be pacified immediately. And we also dedicate these roots of virtue to all sentient beings, all sentient beings, especially those who pass away, especially those sentient beings who sometimes and especially to those victims of flood that happened between Nepal and Tibet borders. So, and we also dedicate these roots of virtue to them as well. So may all their negativities accumulated since beginningless time be pacified immediately and quickly achieve the state of enlightenment.
Sabeke wadi tendang zhuwa kunla kambe nang xeba jizun lo sang raba yi tenbe ningbo rin do se jie shu jan chu sen jo rin bo jie ma jie pa nang ji ju ji yang ba me ba yang kone kondo pe wa shu jan me ba we ji da kem lo sam mo de yang de jin de da kun ji ji so da lo yo de da jie pa ma me ba yang kone kondo pe wa shu da rinpoche ma je pa nang ji ju ji je su do ju be lang chi je se se kan je je yu chan de kan de pe de ma lu ba kan de ju wei sang bei xin yo kan de su me de jing ga zo wa so wa de zo de je le do jo da me kan ba ke san ye rang zo lo sang jia wa yin se ju ba je ran zai xin ye jia yu ma lu be de de me ba ju be ke le zo yong zo zo be tu de rinpoche de be zhen jing be wa la na yang mi shi su de gu jia de su me chi zu la ma so wa de pe de ma lu ju wei gu ji gu jia wei de da ma yu do那这个真把这边我不会说。